Hello and welcome. It is the 29th of April 2019. My name is Derek. All bets trades of the like within each's own risk and their own reward. And really, really risky, really, really rewardy in this atmosphere. Within the Litecoin chart on the monthly rather, there's not much data on here, but enough to know that this was in here. Band flattening out for a reversal of trend. Stage 2 established support. It did that in here. Stage 3 come back to the band, and that's what it's been doing now for the last couple or so months. It got up to the 18 average of highs. Now pulling back, but still within the 18 average band. On the weekly chart, now this is the fourth week down as we are starting a new week. This week's only down 3 2/3%. Last week it was down 8 1/3. Week before was down 8 and then 9 1/4, we'll call it. And that was after it had a 51% up week in the last 4 weeks, this week included. It's pretty much given back all of its gains, or the four periods are smaller than the one in total. Now, as I look at this on a Fibonacci analysis level, how it makes sense for me is the following. Or I should be saying what doesn't make sense, even though it could do it. Would be something like where it comes back down, pulls back to a nice higher low where it finds support around 44, and then it comes back up in here. Doesn't have anything major in resistance on this next line for too much, and then this is just a leg. Like this is just established resistance, higher or low below here. Because basically what I'm saying is, if it's going to be having a breakout like this, it's one of three things mainly. Number one, fast move to the next level. That isn't it, because there's already been many candles down. Number two is maybe supporting this level rather than resisting it. So that could still be in play. It's now in that support area now, piercing above the fib at 63. Of course, it can pierce extra low around 56, and that would still be all fine and dandy as well. But if it supports this level, basically what I'm saying is if there's going to be a support correction or a correct move in support, and it breaks this higher high and it gets above it, I think it's going to be more likely than anything to find support within this area. And then, of course, the failed breakout is the next one, which is stating it was going to make this move in here, thus failing in its attempt, which would thus bring a significant move lower. And I would have to say at least down towards 32. What happens, of course, only time will tell. I wish I had that crystal ball and I could tell, but if that was the case, I could turn 100 bucks into even a dollar into a billion pretty fast if I knew every little tweaky little move that was going to happen. So rather, I'm just going to control my risk, understand each situation and what to do when each situation presents itself towards myself. On the daily chart for Litecoin, was supporting this level, has been showing weakness on the 18 lows now for quite some time. Over the last couple sessions or days, is showing that it's breaking down below this level and thus towards what I would consider where it came from, target at around 61 and change. Now, generally speaking, the entire marketplace is down right now. If we sort this by percentage gainers, we got Neo, which is up right now. But other than that, I mean, there's gold silver ratio. The stock market's barely up, and the Canadian dollar's doing nothing against the U.S. But down moves, Ravens down 9.5, ApeCoin's down 8, Theta's down 6 2/3, Flow's down 6 1/3, DGB against the dollar's down 5 2/3, Faircoin's down 4.9, DGB down 4.8, Bitcoin Cash down 4.3, and so on and so forth along the way. Let's take a look at Litecoin against Bitcoin next, which is, where is it on here? Right here, 129. And amongst this baby here, there's the Fibonacci from this low and this high, which has been hanging in there within the first one. Now, for its second time, it had a fast move from this level on the 24th of April, and a fast move because it bounced off of it pretty quick. Now it's back here again. This could be a spot where we just congest in this area for a while, thus stay within a range of maybe 125 to like 133, maybe for a selected amount of days, 2, 3, 4, as one possibility. But the odds of support being found here when it first came down there was pretty darn near good. And it did find some. Now the likelihood of it is reduced. And in the situation, whether it occurred here, whether it occurs now or whenever, or whether it's strong support here and then later it breaks, I'd be looking for a move to come back down to about the 100 mark. I'm still technically waiting to buy back a few of my sell orders myself as a trader. I was going to buy some in here, and I've reluctantly done so, or stopped doing so. I got 3 orders to buy back, and I was going to buy one up in here, and then one in here, and then one down on this one. Instead, I'm going to buy one right around here, around 118, 116 probably. Then I'll be buying at a 100 number. And then, if applicable, I'll be buying below that, probably around the 730 handle, based on my last few orders that were sold from the last peak higher. And let's move on next to Theta, which has a similar sort of pattern like Litecoin, how it had this level of support, a little bit of a move up, and now back down to where it came from. So all those types of particulars come into play. As far as Fibonacci from point A low to point B high, it has ripped through the 61.8% down move after congesting it, then having a break up in here, but ultimately resisting this level. Back to where it came from area is generally around 1400 and change. So that would be where I would consider any type of next target. Now I want to talk about trading two coins together, like I have quite a bit on this, and the situations in which it's just smarter to trade Bitcoin along with it for really better returns and controlling the market a lot better. As there's a lot of situations now, you could have two coins together, and a lot of them are one's down since point A to point B or point high to point low, down 30% against Bitcoin. The other's down like 24 or 35. Their ratio hasn't really changed too much, and maybe there's a situation where something's down really big. Yet to sell the other coin, it would be expensive. Let me show some numbers to explain what I'm talking about. And in this example, I'm going to be using LTC and LSK. And we're looking for 70% up or 41.1765% down, which is the equivalency of a 70% up move. And we'll start with a ratio of 10.14, and this is going back to LTC and LSK dated 2016, June the 5th. Back then, the LTC price was 0.0008281, or the 8281 handle, and the LSK was the 84 handle against Bitcoin, or a differential of 10.14. Let's assume you were trading these together, and you're like, okay, we're going to start trading at 10.14. I'm either going to wait for it to go up 70%, which is like 17 and change, or for it to lose 41.1% of its value, which would be a little over 6, or around 6, we'll say. And then what would have happened is 2 months almost later, you would have had the ratio rise to that of 19.9. But Litecoin would have went down from the 82 handle to 68, and LSK more than half its value to 343. And even right around Christmas, or over almost 5 months later even, Litecoin down to 48.56 LSK. And during this entire time, over the second half of 2016, you would have seen one coin go down half in Litecoin and one go down about 5, 6 times in LSK. Yes, you could trade the ratios back and forth, and it's still going to work out fine in the long run when we have these swings. But the more ideal play, if you have Bitcoin available, is to buy them as they're going down, and then you can, and because if both coins go down together, I think it's a smart idea to buy both of them. And if they both go up together, to sell both of them. And then whenever you can trade the ratios back and forth, that's what makes it really fun. And then Bitcoins, other than to trade on both sides, really isn't an idea there. Okay, so on March the 1st, which would have been months later, so you can start this game in these bearish times and just nothing but down moves, and that can happen, and it has happened before. On March the 21st, we've seen how LSK went up to 228, and LTC went down. This is the ideal spot where you want to trade the ratios because, hey, this is great. One of my coins has went up, one has went down. Let's sell the one that has went up for the one that went down. And then on April the 2nd, you would have seen a situation where, oh, Litecoin has like doubled. My LSK, well, it's only up about like 18 basis points or like 8 9%. So I have no problem buying something that's up 8 9% when the other one's up even more, thus trading it against each other. And when you see the markets come from these low levels, from the 35 handle up to the 193, you got to take, even though you can trade the ratio, sometimes you just got to trade them both. Like, oh my goodness, this market's going way, way too high. So you'd want to be selling it and even start doing it at like 9,000 handle and 12,000, 15,000, 19,000, 22, 28, 44, and it didn't get to the 44 or even the 28. But you just keep on having that idea. Once it gets so high, I'm just going to have to sell some against Bitcoin, even if I can just trade the ratios normal and all that is good as well. And as we would move on to a few days later, we can see here the play would have been to sell a coin that's barely up for one that's down. That's fine. And then when it went from 9, and just looking at times going on forward, 19 ended up going down to 75. So what you would have been able to sell on the way up could have been bought against Bitcoin because, oh, and then based on its volatility, when Litecoin is down like 50, 60% for 30%, yeah, 30, 40, 50, 60%, those are great buying opportunities. I mean, these other coins are down 70% even. Great buying points because we've seen in here how on this point it went up to 1120 from what was 143. Same thing there. And we can see, well, at least went down to, 685 up to 1317, down to 492. Because here was a spot where the ratio would have been, if you're not trading this anything with Bitcoin, you would have seen Litecoin go down from 11, almost 12,000 handle to 75, and the LSK from over 13 to almost 5. So your play would be to sell Litecoin at 75 and buy LSK at 492, which again, trading the ratio is fine. But over the time frames of September, October, November, the play should have been buying them both with Bitcoin. And then when the rallies happen, like back in here, yes, again, trade the ratios, but just like you were selling up here and buying back, time to sell again against Bitcoin. When you see these numbers over the 1,000 mark and 1,800, you're seeing these numbers again go back over 15,000. And then of note as well, if you look at the dates as we go to today's time frame, things were wild back in 2017. And then as we can look in 2017, well, it starts off in 2016. You do 3 trades to finish the year off, and then nothing until the end of the 3rd month in here. But then 1 trade in March, 1 in April, or 2 times this happens, 2 in May, 2 in June, twice in July, twice in August. Even though the markets were going down, nothing in September and October, but then in November, December there was 3, January there was 1, and then another one a little bit, couple months later, and then nothing for 10 months or 9 months. So we've been in a long period of not much going on, markets going down, that this type of volatility I think is going to be coming back. So right now, as we'd be waiting, as far as the mathematical numbers stand, I'd be waiting for 75.96 to go higher on the ratio, or 26.28. Now, as far as the game that I've been playing, I just played one just before this video, and I kicked ass at it. Maybe you can do as good, do almost as good, or do better. It's a 1,422 game period. My THC ended at 704,000 and my XMY ended at 6.75 million. So, you start this game off with 1,000 each. 1,000 or so each. And that's what I ended my score. That's the power of being able to just be able to buy and sell these markets when the ratios swing as wildly as they do. If you want to try to play that game, you have to get Small Basic, have the download ready. It's a free download. Once it's installed, Click on import. It's going to ask you for a code GBZ884. That will get you this wild, wild, wild moving code. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.